Stopping a virtual machine sounds like a very simple task, and really it is. But to really use VMware and virtual computing to its fullest, you need to understand the implications of the different ways that you can stop these virtual machines from running. Now, there's really three basic options in VMware Workstation that you can use when you're stopping a virtual machine. The first one is just to shut it down. Generally, this is going to be, when you don't want to have it up and running. And then there's pause, and this is just for short little intervals when you don't need it, and then suspend, and this is generally for longer intervals. Now keep in mind, Workstation 8 itself can be closed without stopping the virtual machine, so just because you close the Workstation interface and you can't see your virtual machines doesn't mean they have to stop. We've talked about that in other places in the course here. But right now, let's go out to the VMware Workstation interface, and I want to show you some of the real estate that we're going to be talking about as I move through some of this text-based stuff here. So let's start off out there in the interface and demo a little bit of some of the functionalities. Okay, so here we are out in Workstation 8, and I want to show you, obviously, this Windows XP Professional is running. So I can go to the toolbar right here and click the drop down, and I can either power off or suspend, but you'll notice I don't see pause here. What I can do is go to VM, click, and you will see pause right there, and that will pause the VM that I have selected here. Okay, now to pause one is going to be a very short burst. Hey, let's close it. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes, but I want to show you another thing that you can do on pausing these running machines or stopping them or whatever, and that is any virtual machines that you have running. And I am in the Workstation 8 interface right now, and I'm actually out on the host system. Now if I go full screen here, now I'm on the XP system and I'm on the full screen mode. Okay, pretty straightforward, right? Then if I just mouse to the top, I can come back and I can see it like it is here, and then I can go to console mode here and see it. But how do I want to, if I want to check to see how many virtual machines are running on the host, notice if I pull down, cause my taskbar to come up and show my hidden icons, if I mouse over this, this right here, notice the picture of the monitors with the little green arrow. This is showing me I have one virtual machine running. Now if I right click on that, notice I can suspend all virtual machines, I can shut down all virtual machines, I can open all the background virtual machines, or I can pause all virtual machines, or obviously exit Workstation. Alright, so I can get to all of them right there. So keep in mind that's out there on your host system in the notification area of the taskbar. And so as you can see, there's lots of things that we can do here. I can right click on the machine itself, I can go to power, I can power off, I can shut down, suspend, reset, or I can click pause right here and get to it this way as well. So there's lots of ways to do this to get to these 2 or 3 different options you have for shutting down. But now let's go back to our text and let's talk about some of the nuances that we're dealing with here. So as we work with our virtual machines, the first option that we can choose is to shut it down. Now a virtual machine can be shut down from the toolbar or the VM menu item. The menu item VM and then choose power offers me 2 options. That's the power off or the hard option you'll hear it referred to, and this is where Workstation is going to power off the VM abruptly. There's no consideration for work in progress, it's just going to power off the machine. The shutdown guest is really what you probably want to use most of the time. This actually sends a shutdown signal to the guest OS, and the guest operating system or the OS will shut down gracefully. Now this is the same as going into the operating system, choosing start, shut down, and everything comes down gracefully. The one thing you want to check here though is make sure that when you choose the shutdown guest that particular operating system can read the shutdown signal. Otherwise it's just going to do a hard option power off, and so you want to make sure of that. And then let's talk about from the toolbar. Now you can select the virtual machine from your list and then click the stop button. Now keep in mind a hard or a soft shutdown is going to occur, and that's going to be based on your stop power control setting, and that's out there in preferences, and it's out there on each machine. And you can also though on the toolbar click the drop down for options, and I did some demo on that stop power or those power control settings when we talked about starting a virtual machine. So you can go take a look at that video and see that demo, and you'll see what I'm talking about there. Now before I go into pause, let's stop right here. This will be part 1, and we'll go into part 2 and dig into some of the nuances of pause and suspend, because those two are kind of related. So join me in part 2 and we'll dig into the pause and suspend functions on stopping a virtual machine.